The story of Sleep Dealer, a 2008 Mexican sci-fi film, unfolds in a dystopian future ravaged by a catastrophic world war. Earth's human population has plummeted, leaving a fractured world under strict military control. Politicians have lost power and international travel is forbidden, isolating nations in a tightly regulated global order. To work across borders, people rely on node jobs, operating advanced robots, virtual laborers, through neural connections. These robots, controlled via a network of wires and interfaces, perform tasks in distant countries. The facilities where operators connect to these robots, immersing themselves in a digital workspace, are called sleep dealers, a term evoking both the technological marvel and the toll on human lives. The narrative centers on Memo Cruz, a young man with a sharp mind and a compassionate heart, hailing from a middle-class family in the dusty rural village of Santa Ana del Rio, Mexico. Memo dreams of a better life, working a node job in the bustling Mexico City. The film opens inside a dimly lit sleep dealer where Memo is wired into a complex system. Thin, metallic wires snake across his hands and arms, pulsing faintly with data. A peculiar mask covers his face, its glowing interface linking his nervous system to a distant robot. With precise hand movements, Memo controls a towering construction robot at a far-off corporate site, his every gesture guiding its mechanical limbs under harsh, fluorescent lights. As he works, Memo's mind wanders story into a flashback 4 years earlier. In a cluttered room at his family's, Memo tinkers with scavenged electronic parts, soldering wires under the flicker of a single bulb. His passion for technology shines through, a spark of ambition in an otherwise quiet village life. His father, a weathered farmer with calloused hands, bursts in, urgency in his voice. He warns Memo to hurry, or they'll miss the gate's closing time at the water distribution point. Memo, startled, grabs a few worn bags and rushes after his father, their footsteps kicking up dust on the dry path. They arrive at a formidable iron fence, its cold surface glinting under the scorching sun. A surveillance camera swivels, a speaker crackles, and a machine gun looms ominously, a stark reminder of the militarized world. Memo's father requests 38 liters of water, essential for their parched crops. A robotic voice from the speaker demands $50, a steep increase from the previous $35. Memo's father's face tightens with frustration, his weathered features betraying years of struggle. With no choice, he pulls crumpled bills from his pocket and places them in a metal box at the fence, the transaction feeling like a surrender to an unforgiving system. In this future, water is a precious commodity, hoarded after the war's devastation. The military government auctions it to wealthy businessmen, who exploit the poor, selling meager amounts at exorbitant prices. Memo and his father trudge home with their precious water, the weight of survival heavy on their shoulders. At their modest home, Memo's family gathers, a resilient mother and a curious younger brother, their bond a flicker of warmth in a harsh world. Memo's brother watches TV, captivated by glossy node job advertisements promising wealth and opportunity. Memo gazes at the screen, his heart stirring with dreams of escaping the village's hardships through this futuristic work. 4 months later, Memo is back at the farm, engrossed in a new project. At his worn table, he completes a homemade signal receiver, its wires and circuits a testament to his ingenuity. Overjoyed, he tests its signals, adjusting frequencies with eager precision. In his excitement, he unknowingly hacks into American Air Force radio communications. From his cramped room, Memo listens to classified commands, his curiosity outweighing caution. One day, American Air Force officers mobilize for a mission, their voices crackling through Memo's receiver. The Air Force detects an intruder eavesdropping, pinpointing Memo's signal. 2 days later, Memo and his brother huddle in front of the TV. A news report declares that the hacker intercepting Air Force communications has been located. The screen flashes images of Memo's farm, announcing that officers will obliterate it with missile strikes. Panic seizes the brothers. Their eyes wide with fear, they sprint toward the farm, where their father is working, desperate to warn him. Meanwhile, an American Air Force aircraft, sleek and menacing, approaches Santa Ana del Rio. It unleashes a barrage of missiles, reducing Memo's farm to a smoldering ruin of twisted metal and ash. Memo's father, caught in the chaos, stumbles from the wreckage, bloodied and disoriented. An Air Force officer, mistaking him for a terrorist, opens fire, killing him instantly. Memo and his brother arrive to find their farm destroyed, smoke curling into the sky. The sight of the devastation confirms Memo's worst fear. His father is gone. Grief and guilt consume him. knowing his hacking triggered the attack. With his father dead, the burden of supporting his family falls on Memo's shoulders. Determined to provide for his mother and brother, he leaves the village for Mexico City, seeking work in the sprawling urban landscape. On a crowded public bus, Memo meets Luz, a young woman with a quiet intensity. Small, metallic nodes gleam on her arm, catching Memo's eye. Curious, he asks how they work. Luz explains that nodes connect the nervous system to computers, storing memories or enabling remote work through robots. Memo, intrigued but unfamiliar, admits he's only seen them on TV. He expresses a longing to get nodes himself, seeing them as a path to a better life. Luz nods, her eyes hinting at her own struggles. Later, Luz sits alone in her cramped apartment, connecting her nodes to a computer. She uploads her memories, a digital diary of her life, to earn money. A video call interrupts her. A bank representative demands repayment of a substantial loan, her face tightening with stress. Meanwhile, Memo wanders Mexico City's chaotic streets, searching for a place to stay. A stranger offers to help find him a room but betrays him, drugging Memo and stealing his money. Memo wakes at dawn, disoriented and penniless, on a gritty city sidewalk. Undeterred, he resumes his search for work, his determination fueled by his family's needs. By chance, Memo encounters Luz again. He shares his ordeal of being robbed and his struggle to find a job. Luz, empathetic, suggests he get nodes to work a node job, promising steady income. Memo agrees, hope flickering in his eyes. Luz takes him to a dimly lit bar where a shady doctor implants nodes into Memo's body, the procedure both painful and exhilarating. Afterward, Memo opens up to Luz about his family and village. He describes his father, a diligent farmer who toiled under the unforgiving sun, relying on scarce rainfall for crops. A massive dam near their village, controlled by greedy businessmen, never released water for their fields. In frustration, his father would hurl stones at the dam, a futile act of defiance against an oppressive system. Luz, moved by Memo's heartfelt story, asks to experience his memories through her computer. Memo consents, and Luz connects wires to his nodes, transferring his memories to the screen. They watch together, their shared vulnerability drawing them closer. As they dance in the bar, their connection deepens, sparking love. Memo returns to his grueling node job, operating robots with newfound purpose. Meanwhile, Luz, desperate to pay off her debts, makes a fateful decision. She uploads Memo's memories to a website called TrueNode, selling them to an unknown buyer. Days later, Rody, an American Air Force officer, purchases Memo's memories, transferring payment to Luz's account. Rody studies the memories, glimpsing Memo's life and pain. Memo, unaware, continues his work at the sleep dealer, his hands dancing through the air to control distant robots. Visiting Luz's apartment, Memo finds it empty. While waiting, he updates her computer controls and discovers she sold his memories to Rody. Betrayed, Memo feels a sting of anger and hurt. When Luz returns, he confronts her, his voice trembling with rage. Unable to reconcile her actions, he storms out, vowing to move on. To cope, Memo throws himself into his node job, working long shifts to numb the pain. Luz, racked with guilt, sits alone in her apartment, cursing her decision to sell Memo's memories for money. Meanwhile, Rody, haunted by Memo's memories, travels to Mexico. At a small restaurant, Memo eats alone, lost in thought. Rody approaches, introducing himself as an Air Force officer. Memo, terrified by the connection to his father's death, bolts from the restaurant. Rody chases him into the bustling street, calling out. Catching up, Rody pleads for Memo to listen, apologizing for the misunderstanding. He confesses that, under orders from his headquarters, he launched the missile strike that killed Memo's father. After accessing Mexico's population database, Rody learned Memo and his father were honest people, not terrorists. While browsing a social networking site, he saw a photo of Memo and Luz together, prompting him to contact Luz and buy Memo's memories. Rody tells Memo that Luz loves him deeply and urges forgiveness, taking full blame for the tragedy. He reveals that Memo's memories expose the suffering caused by the village dam. Determined to make amends, Rody promises a solution. Rody returns to his aircraft and flies to Santa Ana del Rio. He targets the dam, firing a missile that blasts a massive hole, releasing a torrent of water onto the parched land below. Meanwhile, Luz writes a heartfelt apology letter to Memo, pouring out her regret. When Memo reads it, his anger softens and he forgives her. That night, they reunite, strolling through the city under a starlit sky, their bond rekindled. In the final scene, Memo returns to his village. Standing in his fields, he watches water from the breached dam irrigate the soil, nourishing rows of young corn plants. The story flashes forward, showing Memo back at the sleep dealer, his hands wired to the system, controlling a robot with steady focus. The movie ends, leaving a vision of hope and resilience amidst a world reshaped by technology and loss.